I were to say, unless you can scientifically prove something to me, then I won't believe it. Then this is my faith.
Yeah, that's your
faith. But science is based on a series of tests to try to prove something. It's not a final answer. But it's more than saying, well, since I don't understand, then obviously, I just don't know. I have to have faith in something.
The statement, unless you can scientifically prove something, it's not true, is a philosophy.
Is that a philosophy?
No, that would be empiricism. That's fact. Philosophy.
I have another question. Earlier you were saying something about morality as a general being a proof for God. I didn't quite understand that. What if it's just a function of society?
If it's just a function of society,
well, yeah, because
morality is relative.
Hundreds of years ago, what was acceptable then is not necessarily acceptable now. Like in Rome, you could have slaughtered a good amount of people and have been alright, depending on who it was. Now you can't really do that. You know what I mean? So we have now certain laws that dictate, it's not good to kill that amount of people. What up? That many people, you know what I mean? So I don't quite understand what you mean by a universal morality. I've never seen that to be true. I mean, like in a state of nature, right? If I was going after survival, I wouldn't have a problem maybe killing a guy and feeding my children. Now, in society where there's laws, that wouldn't be acceptable. You know that you have to treat your fellow human being a certain way so that society runs smoothly. So why is morality universal?
Do you believe that if Nazi Germany would have won World War II?
Everybody always brings up the Nazis. What is this?
What if you just said yes?
Ma'am,
Okay,
I was
fine.
trying to answer your question.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Go.
If Nazi Germany would have won World War II, would that mean that the Holocaust is good?
What? No.
That would never mean that.
Okay, why is the Holocaust
that has
wrong?
nothing to do with that.
Why is the Holocaust wrong? Because it's immoral. Okay, who defines morality?
We're also speaking in a time frame now where we have law that also defines that kind of thing.
Where on earth do you get off saying that your particular laws of your culture are right and the Nazis are wrong? How on earth can you remain intact with your rational mind and say,
I'm saying
my morality is right of my culture, but the Nazis' morality is wrong? Why? Because I assert that my morality is right and the Nazis are wrong. If there is no God, morality is created by the individual, by society, which means it's totally relative. But if there is a God, then it's possible that there are some moral absolutes. But if there's no God, morality is all relative. Now, can we agree on that or not?
No.
Okay. What is the basis of a moral absolute if there is no God?
We don't know. It could have been an invisible hand process, like invented by an incredibly intelligent God who decided that we should develop a subjective process for ourselves.
You can't prove God doesn't exist, but you can't prove he exists either.
Yeah.
Which is the same exact ground I think you're holding, is that everything's relative. That man creates individually everything that has ever been created on this planet has been a product of that which man has created. You can't prove that a God made anything.
Can you prove anything in life?
You can't prove anything.
Thank you. Does that mean you just arbitrarily make decisions, or do you look for evidence?
Well, you have to take what you're given on this planet. I mean, everything you have around you, all the elements, all the forces that push you around, you make conclusions. I mean, I'm an engineer, and what I do is I take what I know, and I can make things, I can make machines, and I can try to benefit that which I have, but nothing's absolute ever.
Okay. So you base your decisions on evidence, not proof.
Exactly.
And the evidence is that God exists.
What evidence is that?
Everything that has a beginning has a cause. The universe has a beginning, therefore the universe has a cause.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you know?
You don't know either.
The Big Bang.
Really?
The Big Bang shows us the universe is not eternal, it has a beginning.
Did that happen? Big Bang?
Yeah, about 15 billion years ago. The evidence from astronomy is...
No, I agree that it didn't happen, but I just...
Well, then why are you arguing with me about it?
Well, no, I'm not arguing with that. I mean, your stance is that everything's relative. Anything could happen, right?
No.
No?
if there is no God, morality is relative.
But if there is no God and morality is subjective.
Second piece of evidence for God's existence is, you as an engineer know, that order and design does not come about by chance.
Evolution.
Well, the obvious question is there a mind behind evolution or is there no mind?
Well, evolution states that things happen pseudo-randomly. I mean, how did life spawn out of a rock? Nothing, by chance.
That's another third piece of evidence for God's existence. Life does not come about from non-life by chance.
How do you know that?
Because my observation is that plant life comes from plant life, animal life comes from animal life, and human life comes from human life. It never once comes from non-life.
Not always, though. There are definitely logical systems where there's paraconsistency, where truth and falsity aren't mutually exclusive.
Like what?
Logical systems where that's the case, as opposed to instead of binary values where something is either false or true, that it can be true and false, or neither.
Okay, when can A and non-A be equally true in the same way at the same time?
If you write out the starred sentence is true, and you star that sentence, it's both true and false, or neither true nor false.
What?
Do you not? All right. If I had some paper, I could show you. This, if I wrote out on a chalkboard, say, the starred sentence is false, and I starred it, then it's the starred sentence is false, but that makes the sentence true. But it's both true and false at the same time. Yes, it is.
How is it true? What's the point you're trying to make?
That your logical system, your whole example there of a professor saying something is true and false being based on absolute is not right.
No, I put forward the law of non-contradiction. That A and non-A cannot both be true in the same way at the same time. You disagree with that?
It might not be true.
Well, I know that. I might be a bad dream you're having right now. Anything's possible.
Well, see, you throw
But
away
what does
like
the
some...
evidence point to? The evidence points to the law of non-contradiction being correct. The evidence points to you and me standing here having a conversation. And guess what you're using? The same thing I'm using. You're using speech and logic and reason to communicate with me.
Exactly, and you're using that to try and define a system when there isn't a whole lot of evidence for it. There is no evidence for a God.
Of course there's evidence that God exists. Order and design point to a designer.
Well, what about in evolution? How come that's not?
What about it?
How is that not?
Evolution has nothing to do with what I just said.
Yeah, you said order and design. All right, how about order and design in biology? And there, you take theories like creationism and intelligent design, and those are all negative evidence theories where they have no positive evidence for them, only small problems in evolution to back them up.
Sure, evolution is just a process, so the question still remains, is there an intelligent mind behind the process, or is there no intelligent mind behind the process?
You're right, but it's not necessitated. Evolution doesn't necessitate an intelligent designer, so that's, once again, your evidence is poor, I would say.
Well, fine. If you believe that designer genes don't have a designer behind them, if you believe that a BMW can come together as a result of a cyclone passing through a metal scrapyard, if you believe that oxygen, which is 21% of our atmosphere, if it was 25%, fires would break out all over the place. If it was 15%, we'd all suffocate. If you think that that kind of complexity can come about by chance,
absolutely.
I got to tell you, I can't be so gullible. Because everything in my experience is order and design and complexity of that nature demands an intelligent mind.
So you're saying there's no chance ever? That there's no chance for
anything's possible. It's possible I'm a bad dream you're having, okay? But the evidence is I'm real, the evidence is you're real. That's why we're continuing this conversation. At least that's why I am. So I don't base my life on proof, but I base my life on evidence. And the evidence is, sir, you don't get complexity by chance. You don't get intelligent communication by chance. It demands an intelligent mind. The amount of DNA in a single cell demands a creator. How can you have so much densely packed information without an intelligent mind?
I feel like it's just someone who can't comprehend.
That's the argument from incredulity. Basically, you don't know how it could happen, so you say God must have done it.
No, there was an argument from experience.